Look, I ain't never been the type to be this. No, I ain't never been the type to be. I ain't even gonna lie, but it ain't like you don't know what mine is. Now I'm a big TikTok, back to the flat hat and kicks up to relax with a glass of milk. Apparently Pixie drinks nothing, nothing to lose and something to gain. Just know that awake I ain't running from what's coming my way. Start out here in these times, these guys have got no hope. Their flows.
Cheeks.
Hey, it's mad. At least my voice still stands the same.
Listen.
Then she found out under my mattress. I'm active.
DJ Target presents In Depth.
Yes, indeedy, folks. You heard the intro. You know what time it is. We're celebrating 15 years of One Extra this week, and to do that, my little offering. As you know, my in-depth series, we've been sitting down with some real legends, some real big artists, mainly from the UK, celebrating their careers, looking at the inspirations, the aspirations, all of that, and all the things that's come in between as well. You may have caught me sitting down with Chip on Monday night. Tonight, we take it to another UK legend, man. This man, like he's been through it all, bro. And I always take pride in saying he's from East London. As an East Londoner, I love saying that. Professor Green is in the building. Pro Green, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. What's going on?
It's so good to have you sitting down in this capacity and having this chat, bro.
Bro, do you know what? I was looking forward to it, and then I thought, wait a minute, One Extra's been going 15 years. I've been coming in them doors about the same amount of time.
Crazy.
I've been coming through the doors here. I remember the first time I battled and B Live was judging it.
Wow.
Yeah, when I had to, I was just someone who phoned in and, got chosen and had to battle, and I lost that battle. B Live regrets the decision. I regret him making that decision because I think I won the battle.
I bet you've never let him live that down as well.
No. He's cool, man. Big up B Live. But yeah, no, I can't believe I've been coming through these doors that long, bro.
It's crazy. This is my 10th year as well.
Show my age and all that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And we've known each other a very long time as well. I've seen you progress from that battle rap career that started way back when.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of take it back to even before that.
Yep.
I want to take it back to Hackney.
Yep.
In East London.
Yep.
Where you grew up.
Yep.
Home of the brave.
East London.
There's a few other monikers.
Yeah, bloody hell, where I come from as well. There's definitely a few other names for Clapton.
Yeah.
Man. I was born in 1983. Humble beginnings, man. Lived on Norfolk Estate. My whole family were there, which my family's quite fragmented. It's quite fractured.
Yeah.
But at that time there were 6 of us in a 3-bedroom flat. There was me, my mum, her 2 brothers. Her mum, my nan, and her mum, my great-grandmother, all of us in a little 3-bedroom flat in Clapton on Norfolk Estate. And my mum left when I was a year old. My nan eventually got custody. She didn't let me go into care, thank God.
Yeah.
And I spent the next I think I lived at home till 18 or 19. I think that was when my nan moved to Essex and I moved out. It was a bit too green for me then. Despite the moniker.
Exactly.
It was a little bit too green for me.
He was a bit too much of a city lad by that point. So, growing up in such a busy, tight, family-knit unit, I guess, man, like, music, how were you exposed to music? Was it something that was, something that you first heard your mum, your nan playing? Was it stuff that you were picking up on the TV?
Thank God it wasn't what my nan was playing. She taught me what I didn't like very quickly. She was playing like Inkelbert Humperdinck and Jason and Kylie.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what?
It was quite a harsh.
Those records had a purpose. I remember like my Christmas primary school Christmas party, and I remember Jason and Kylie going off.
Boy, I remember turning them off. It was so that was what I found at home. And then obviously when I braved going outside, the estate looked like a big place, and I didn't realise how small my world was for a long time. But when I first walked out that street door, and I was like 6 or 7, to actually go out of my nan's vision to play in the swing park, the estate felt like a big scary place, man.
That first time, like you said, that first time outside of supervision of an adult, even if it's for like an hour to go and play on the swings, but that you're kind of starting your investigation of your surroundings for yourself now. You're doing it for yourself.
And that's when you start to work out things and you start to clock that, not straight away, but then maybe, things are a little bit different here to what they are in other places, isn't it? Yeah. But I was lucky. I walked out and one of the first people I bumped into goes to me, "Hey, what? Hey, you're Peterson. He was an older kid. He goes, you're Peterson, yeah. I was like, yeah. He was like, oh yeah, he works at my dad's greengrocers. I'm Mark Warren. And then he took me round to the swing park and just introduced me to everyone and goes, that's Peter's son. I'm looking after him. And I felt a little bit safer then, and started to meet people and started to listen to the music that all the olders were listening to, which at the time really, you know, Brocky from Clapton. There was a lot of jungle.
Don't
you
get
know
me
what I mean?
started. Like that one word that you've just said there, like that strikes a nerve with me, man. And like growing up in East London,
jungle was massive, isn't it?
Listen, around those kind of those 90s, I don't know, early to mid to late 90s, jungle was just like. It was ringing out of every car. Pirate proper. Stations, all the big pirate stations.
Every
were in East
stolen mini
London.
metro that the olders brought back into the flats.
All those little like kind of maxed out whips that people used to drive around. They'd have like the littlest car, but like a huge loud exhaust with like.
Yeah, I remember there was a guy called Ian in my flats who used to have one. He used to live just beneath Jamal. He used to come through, and I had a speed bump right by. We were number 1 Wentworth, so we were like the first flat where you come into the flats. And I had a speed bump right by my wall, by my bedroom wall. So every time he come through, his exhaust would shake the letterbox as well. It was one of them ones. He used to have to drive over the bump sideways as well to not scrape his car. Wow. It was lower to that point. Yeah.
Sick. And like I said, man, and like we were just saying, you know, jungle and pirate radio was like, that was the sound of the streets. That was the sound of what, you know, the kids coming up were into. Yeah. And this I say new jungle would obviously come off the back of hardcore and whatnot. But this kind of the music we were listening to had MCs. It had, you know, like these sick bass lines. It was proper infectious.
I still love jungle. Like I never really got, you know, I rate a lot of drum and bass producers, but it was never my cup of tea. Like I really got stuck at jungle. I never moved beyond that when it became drum and bass, or when drum and bass became. And yeah, I just jungle for me as always. You know, it still strikes a chord with me. I still play Jungle Mania and that when I'm driving around.
Cool FM, man. That was still is a legendary station. Salute to DJ Brocky as well. I literally remember hearing that for the first time. Crazy. If you're just checking in, it's One Extra. We're celebrating 15 years of One Extra. Can you believe it? This week and tonight, we've got a real legend in the building for tonight's In Depth. Pro Green is in the house. You're all good, bro. So jungle was the sound of Clapton, the sound of East London, especially amongst the youths around that time. Mm-hmm. When was it that you started really getting into lyrics?
Lyrics came
and words.
Yeah, that came like, I think it must have been Roller City times in Edmonton.
Wow.
Yeah. What was it first? What was it first? Roller City or Roller Express?
Yeah,
was it Roller Express first and then it became Roller City?
I think it was Roller City, then Express. I'm not sure which way around, but
so
that
we
was
were there through both of them. Because when I was growing
spot.
up in the flats, it was like everyone had the Bow Turtle. I mean, someone even had Bow Panthers.
Wow.
Yeah, like old
those
school,
roller
like
skates.
real old school.
I remember
man.
Danny Weed and his brother, they had a pair and they were like sick on the skates. And I still to this day can't ride a pair of roller skates.
See,
always fall
I
over
got right
skating.
into it, mate. Skating kept me out of trouble for a long time. It also got me into some trouble, but it was a better kind of trouble. But yeah, so we all used to go there. I used to play a bit of street hockey as well. All the olders did when I was growing up. Everyone used to come through on their skates. Obviously, there was a point when they stopped and they come through and then they'd give, you know, you something to hold and take your skates for a little while. But yeah, so we were like Roller City, Roller Express. We used to go Lee Valley as well. Yeah. And I think I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was Roller City, and I heard the One More Chance remix with Faith Evans. I was like, "What is this?"
Wow.
I found out, and then just started doing my digging, and I was, you know, started listening to Westwood, and just really then just going back in time, really, you know, from what was going on at that point to everything before it, and just started getting really, really into East Coast hip hop. Always more East Coast than West.
Yeah, I think I was kind of on the same tip. Like I had my West Coast. You know, my favourites, obviously the Snoops and the Dre's and the Packs of the world, but some people were like deep West Coast fans. I was like, I loved my East Coast, Mobb Deeps, to obviously the Biggies and the Jay-Z's, Nas.
Rakim.
Yeah, all of that, man. We're gonna talk lyrics. We're gonna talk about your early bars, because I'm sure they were starting to be formed around these times.
Well,
not too long afterwards, at least.
A little bit after.
The envy of all women, crushed linen, Cartier wristwear with diamonds in them.
One of the true greats, Notorious B.I.G. One More Chance. Pro Green's in the building. Early inspirations, man. Early vibes. This
one of the best.
Yeah, literally. And like you said, this record is just timeless. Just still sounds as great as ever.
It never ages.
Never does, man. Not at all. Right, we kind of got a lot still to talk about. We're literally still talking about, you know, if you're just checking in, early inspirations, growing up in East London, namely Hackney, namely Clapton. And things kind of like, I guess for you at this time, you were just enjoying music, enjoying growing up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, enjoying it. Sometimes not.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All the
Especially
trappings that come with living in Clapton.
Exactly.
It was, bro. It was. I like people always say, "Oh, was it hard growing up there?" Like I didn't have any comparison.
Exactly.
You know, my perspective was just looking outside my window.
This is my normality.
Yeah,
like,
it was my normality. So it wasn't like I'd come from Wiltshire
Yeah.
and then been like, "Whoa, this is a shock to the
That might
system."
have been a little bit of a struggle.
I've only got one conker tree. Where's all the grass? It was what it was, man.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of good memories, a lot of fun memories.
And as far as, Pro Green, the artist Pro Green, the lyricist Pro Green, the rapper,
Yeah.
when were the first kind of early signs of that happening?
I was working at, I remember Michael China from Haunted House Productions. So I used to roll with them lot, innit?
Yeah.
And because we actually, bro, people don't even know. Like I really came up on Pirate with them lot.
Yeah.
Like we were on Mystic FM.
Wow, legendary Mystic
Yeah,
FM.
and they'd been making music for years. I'd watched them make music for a long time. They started before I met them. And then I think I was like 18 or 19, and it must have been, I think I was 18. And everyone was freestyling. We were at Adam Deacon's flat, where we always used to jam on a Friday night and get up to whatever. And yeah, I can't remember someone, I think everyone was freestyling and someone said something about me, so I got put on the spot and had to rap a lyric. So I rapped a lyric and just went bright red in the face, wanted to hide under the table because I'm never doing that again, leave me alone.
Do you remember any of the bars?
No. But then everyone was like, what, you can rap? Yeah. And then from that, I just started messing around with it in my own time and started to take it more seriously. The moniker Professor Green came when Jonah had said something about a certain plant, and I corrected him quite sternly, and he goes, "What are you, a professor?" Professor Green, yeah. And that was,
okay.
and then the name just stuck. And
So
that
there was a certain level of knowledge that you had acquired
by that point in life.
That point in life,
I was quite familiar with said plant. Yeah,
that earned you that doctorate,
that PhD. The credentials, they check out in one way. But yeah, so that was where that started. And then I remember China got me an interview at the Desktop Publishers that he worked at, because I was up to other stuff. And I got the job, and I used to always want to do lunch run, because it meant I got an hour outside the office.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're getting printed.
Freedom.
Like you're just getting sent to the shop, but I was the first one with my hand up.
Yeah.
I'll do the lunch run.
Yeah.
So I've done that. And I saw a flyer, a billboard site for a poster for Lyric Pad, which was an event that was at Old Bar, which doesn't exist anymore. It's called Blues Bar or something in Camden.
Wow.
And I saw that it was a battle, so I've gone to China. Hey, we should go to this, because I've been freestyling. I wasn't really writing stuff. I was just messing around freestyling, and that was what I got good at.
Yeah.
So we went down to Old Bar, and that was where I had my first battle.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you kind of went from this thing with your mates, maybe it was a Friday night, a little joke thing, quick bar,
Yeah.
which left you kind of feeling a little bit like unsure, a bit embarrassed, but you've done it.
Yeah. And
you've
do you know
done
what
it
it
now.
was? It kind of gave me something. I'd never had any kind of creative expression before that. I couldn't draw. I couldn't, to my knowledge, I couldn't sing. I still can't. But I know I can't sing now. I didn't really, but beyond like skating, I didn't really have anything that I really cared about. And by 16, skating had kind of dropped by the wayside. I was more interested in girls and other things. So yeah, it was the first thing that I was really like, it became a hobby, but also something that I loved. And it gave me fulfillment in a way that nothing else ever did. And it also helped me understand a little bit once I started writing, because I suppose most of my favorite artists really, they fed off their experience. So when I started writing my feelings down. And, it's not really cool to have feelings where we come from.
Yeah.
It wasn't something you were ever really allowed to show.
Yeah.
You had to keep face. So it was like in private time to be able to write that down and get all of that out. It became quite cathartic as well. It was, me making sense of the mumble jumble that was in my head. But when it's on paper, it has to have structure.
Yeah. Sick, man. So that first clash down at O Bar,
and I won.
I was just about to say, like, what was it? Was it a victory off the bat?
Yeah, it was a victory. But then the next time I went back, I lost. And that was to a guy called Rocky, who I would battle actually, a further 3 times. Yeah, but he got that first one, and I said that's not happening again. Not with him anyway.
Wow. And the battle career quickly, move pace and
because I got poached that night. I think I can't remember if Harry or Ara from Jump Off were there, but they were in the crowd, didn't
They're
they?
always in the crowd.
They're just there,
it's
bro.
like there's 2 of them, but there's 50 of them because they're always in the crowd. They're
They'll
always
find
like,
you.
yeah.
Big up Harry and Ara, man. Like we both kind of my coming up was the same as Jump Off's.
Yeah.
We had the same sort of trajectory. So the bigger I got, the bigger the Jump Off got. The bigger the Jump Off got, the bigger I got. And I battled there loads, bro. I won it 7 weeks in a row twice and was the only person to ever do it.
I've been down. I've judged in the rap battle. I've judged in the producer battle down there. Like, I've been down there as a fan.
A lot of people came from Jump Off. Like that's where we cut our teeth. Like Labyrinth.
Jump Off like was and is like a legendary. For those that don't know, a legendary UK rap event. You know, with rap battles, with live DJ element. Really like bringing that culture side of it.
Proper,
there was not really anything
together,
like it.
And there isn't now.
There still isn't.
There isn't. There was a lot of history
You could win dough at the Jump Off though as well.
Yeah, it was a
were,
long time. You know, 7 weeks battling to win $1 grand.
Yeah. I suppose it doesn't really weigh up as much.
Yeah, when I was out every Monday in where did we used to go? Lahom to buy our history. Lahom, mate.
Wow.
Yeah. Soho, wasn't it? To buy our history. Probitos,
you go in there, the downstairs section.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. The original Probitos, Charlotte Street.
Yeah.
That most people don't know.
Listen,
most people knew Bond Street.
People didn't know the spots.
Do your history.
Yeah,
I was in my history.
Yeah, listen. Wow. So, winning the Jump Off 7 weeks in a row, that must have had, by then the whole of London's talking about it. Like everyone in that scene would have known who you are now. This guy is taking people's heads off in rap battles.
But then does the stigma apply?
Yeah.
Are you a battle rapper that can't make songs?
That was I guess the transition that you had to prove everyone.
Yeah.
Or did you even know at the time that you wanted to be a rapper that made songs?
It was weird because I've got all the DJs in the game because everyone was down there going to me, where's the songs? I'm like, well, I've got to do that as well, haven't I?
Yeah.
I've got to start making songs. So I started to. And one of the earliest songs I think was Upper Clapton Dance.
Wow.
I remember it because Cause, who executive produced the first 3 albums, he sent me the sample and he'd heard it because his mum was listening to Classic FM, and it was Brahms' Hungarian Dance number 5. So I just switched it to Upper Clapton Dance and made it all about moving through the ends.
Sick. Early vibes.
Yeah,
man.
and that was where it started.
Did you find that transition from being known in that battle arena? How did you take on that stigma? What did people? Because it felt like you kind of slipped over there from the battle side into the recording artist side pretty smoothly because people were feeling your music from the beginning.
I got away with it. I definitely did. The thing I found hard about the transition is I still had I used to go deal real and battle 4 people on a Friday night. Wow. My little bag of bags on me doing my other thing as well. Oh mate, watching the Sid come through and then people having to drop stuff and run away, like all this
crazy
proper history.
This is like when I was talking to Chip, he's kind of coming up through the pirate thing and those radio sets. It was a real it gave you like an extra layer of like powers when you did become that recording artist.
Yeah, because people can't check you.
Yeah,
because you actually did it. You come up the hardest way. You come up properly. You didn't just make a song and blow off it. And now it's where's the backstory?
There's
You've got the backstory. It's
there
all
wasn't
there.
a such thing as like a YouTube or an Instagram sensation in those days.
You had to build over time. But the thing that I found difficult was because of the battle thing, people would just walk up to me and cuss my mum.
And think that's all right.
It's not all right. Is this a stage? Am I at the Jump Off? Why are you cussing my mum?
Yeah.
Don't cuss
Thinking
my mum.
that you're just going to come back with
a lyric. It's like, hold on, bro. You can't just walk up to me and cuss my mum. That was probably the most difficult part of the transition.
Wow. But, you didn't take long before you were dropping mixtapes.
Yeah, so
dropping records.
First mixtape, Lecture Number 1. That was when I was on Skinner's label. Because the battling thing just progressed and progressed. He saw me do a battle that the Jump Off hosted at Brixton Academy at the B-Boy Championships. He took me on tour to battle on every stop of the 10 Rounds tour, which is when he was doing arenas, and that was when me and Kano and Getz first crossed paths, and Demon was there them times as well. So, because they were supporting, Kano was supporting Mike on the whole tour, and I was battling.
Obviously rolling with Demon and Getz at the time,
and that was when I first came across them. So it was, there was a lot going on. It's mad to look back at that time and look at what everyone's doing now. Like everyone's still
It is
around.
crazy. Like it is mad. Like we're going back 10, 15 years.
12 years?
Yeah, 12 years.
I must have been 21. I was 21 when I signed to Skinner's label. I'm sure.
Couple years ago.
Couple years ago.
So, you know, like, the thing with the beats, again, that was another great, if you like, another training camp.
Yeah.
You were still learning, you were still, you know.
Proper, because I had to learn to, you know, Mike, one thing I remember, I sent Mike Stereotypical Man back. I remember when he sent me the beat, I was like, this is wicked, but this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't like anything else I've ever rapped to. This is weird. So I thought, what can I talk about in this? And I come out with Stereotypical Man. But it wasn't Stereotypical Man. It was Stereotypical Man. I was just rapping it.
You were just rapping it
But
straight.
then he sent it back to me with Leo's vocals on it, because Leo had been doing the vocals for the streets at that point. And he had sent me back the track with Leo doing it, but melodically. And I was like, I didn't even think to listen to a song like that, because I'm just on this rap thing. So that, you know, he really made me start thinking about melody.
Yeah.
And it just gave me another bow to my arrow. Like, I learned a lot in that time. And Mike said also, you know, if you're ever doing something and you don't feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you're not pushing it far enough.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
I like that. Mike Skinner, of all people,
Mike Skinner,
to be able to work with him so early on as well in
Yeah.
your career must have been a blessing.
Proper. And there we go. There we go.
Feels right. Feels like we should be playing this right now. Professor Green, Stereotypical Man, in depth tonight.
Yes, you was. You were checking her out.
Yeah, I'm probably a single man now. Yeah, you know, my angle on life was a bit different then.
No, but you know what? Some of that, I'm going to stand up for you on there. Some of what you say in that record, I would stand by today in 2017.
But you know what? It still touches. It still probably touches nerves, didn't it? And that was what I found that really worked for me in my music, man. Be it for humour or for, you know, the deeper side of things. It's just saying things that resonate with people.
Yeah, man. And, you know, by the time you were dropping records like Stereotypical Man and, you know, the time you spent with beats, it was like something big was about to happen.
And
like,
then it just fell apart, man.
Yeah, no,
It
but
was-
like I mean, even after Beats kind of, because the situation with Beats, they were upscaled through,
they were a subsidiary of Warner, and then it was when Napster had just come about. So Warner pulled all the financing for all of their subsidiaries, and you know, the Beats just disappeared as a part of that, because they looked at it and was it making profit? No.
Yeah.
Was it making something more important than profit?
Yes,
Yes.
Definitely, because it was like the likes of yourself and of course
Well, what an
Kano,
A&R.
Mitchell Brothers.
If you look at who did Mike sign? So Mike signed the Mitchells, Example, and me.
Wow.
So a 2 out of 3 strike rate. Well, A&R has that to their name. Like for
Very,
him
very few.
to look at us and see it. But then me and Mike didn't always agree on. We didn't always agree creatively. He was trying to, for a little while, kind of take my music and make it sound a bit more like his, which I can understand because he's an artist, you know. So he's stepping into territory that he doesn't know. And then he just said to me one day, and big Mike up for this, man. I rate him so much, because he just went, bro, I've been spending too long trying to make you into something else rather than just focusing on what you're good at. And at that point, it felt like, bam, we're ready to
Something
go.
clicked, yeah.
And then that was when it fell apart.
The rug got pulled, man.
And I ended up like trying to get my masters back from Warner for like a year. So I'm in
that limbo,
I'm in purgatory.
yeah.
I'm in limbo. I can't do anything.
It's not really a time when you want to be creative either, when all that's kind of hanging over
it's
your
what
head.
am I writing music for? I can't do anything with it. So that was a difficult period, especially because I ended up going back to other things because I had to get by, but I still wanted the freedom to make the music.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to give it up yet, even though I got people around me going, come on, bro. Like, this thing ain't. You got to start looking after yourself. Like, you got to do something that's going to set you up for life. And thank God I didn't listen to any of them.
And literally, everything that you'd done before that moment had kind of put you in instead to be, you know, the next one up, I guess, because it wasn't long before, you know, more labels came looking.
Yeah, 2009, second time round with Virgin. Do you know what? I've never had a conversation with Harry Lloyd Jones. It was Harry Lloyd Jones and Shabs who signed me. Big up
Shabs, for people that don't know, he's been like very instrumental in a lot of, you know, bringing our culture. He's solid, roll deep.
Yep.
He signed us.
Yeah, of course.
Signed us twice.
Yep.
Signed us, dropped
Signed me
us,
twice.
and signed us again. So like Shabs has been, and now, you know, he just signed Notes and he's doing that whole thing. He's still doing his thing.
Notes is doing a gig with me for Transform Trauma charity I'm supporting.
Sick.
Yeah, on the 9th of September. My
Sick.
first London gig in 3 years.
Wow.
Bro, 3 years.
Wow. Like, It sounds mad even saying 3 years
I
because
know, it sounds like such a... But I've just been... All I did was make some documentaries.
yeah, and we're going to talk about that as well because you've been really hitting home with your documentaries, man. But we're still talking about the music. The music and the beginnings, I guess. Still the early beginnings because Shabs and the crew came along.
Yeah.
Virgin Records.
Yeah.
2009. I actually remember being in Miami in 2009.
With you, bro.
With you.
Yeah.
And you just dropped another tape.
Hayden Scream was out there. Yeah. I just done the Green EP.
The Green EP.
Yeah, that was it.
You just dropped that and we were out there. We were both talking about, you know, where we were at and where Roll Deep was at and career-wise and whatnot. And we was like, yeah, man, just like when we get back to London, like let's... And literally, like, things just started going
Everything
off
happened.
when you came back.
Yeah.
It was like... The deal happened with Virgin.
It's funny. So like, I met Harry Lloyd Jones once, and I remember like, because I put out Upper Clapton Dance and Hard Night Out independently, and then I heard Jamie T with the Hungarian dance sample. You reminded me, Harry Lloyd Jones, I got a bone to pick with you because Harry Lloyd Jones A&R'd him.
Wow.
But then I got called back in a second time and I just said, listen, if we're going to do it, like there's no point in like all these meetings, like let's just do it. And Jed, who manages me, was of the same opinion, like if we're going to do it, let's just do it. And Shabs and we've been around everywhere, you know, I'd seen everyone. And Shabs just went, yeah, man, come on, let's do it. Let's go. You got the songs, let's do it. I already had Lily on Just Be Good to Green. I already had I Need You Tonight. I already had most of the first album.
For a major label, having that much of an album, of a project done, with, you know, big feature artists, with these records that, you know, everybody would have known these are going to go. Like, that's a dream come true for a major label.
And do you know, it's mad you say about Miami. You know, I actually wrote the chorus for I Need You Tonight in Miami.
Wow, on that trip.
Everyone was still unconscious. So we've been out the night before. We've been at Wet Willie's, drinking those Supermen. Do you remember the alcoholic slush puppies?
Listen, that place.
Red and blue,
listen. And there was one called a taxi driver.
Yeah, and
people
you
used
would
to
need
say,
a taxi driver.
People used to say, if you drink this drink called a taxi driver, trust me, and everyone would be like, why is it called a taxi driver?
Drink
It'd
couple
like,
and then be
you're gonna
so
need one.
waved.
That's why.
Yeah.
And that was a sick trip.
But yeah, that chorus. So the chorus for I Need You Tonight actually came about out there.
That's mad. That is mad. I've played the instrumental, not the thing. I feel like it is a great time to play the record though, man, because this record,
it's changed my life.
Yeah, it was the first single off of the album, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
A huge record. Here we go. Professor Green, Ed Druitt, I Need You Tonight. Tonight's In Depth with Pro Green. 15 years of One Extra.
Hello?
Yeah, how big this was going to be, but it was huge, bruv. Just huge.
It was, bro, imagine, they just put it out there, like, we're not going to put a big spend on it. I was just going to see what happens. And then we were like number 2 in the midweeks. And we were up against Scouting for Girls. And there was all kind of insults getting thrown about. I was like, Scouting for Girls, great name for your band, because that's all you're ever going to be.
Oh, wow.
There was all sorts. But we wound up at number 3. And I mean, would you have, for a first single to chart at number 3, like that was the warm-up.
Yeah,
like everyone says the first single is the warm-up just in case they don't do nothing. But that was the warm-up.
Yeah.
And to hit at number 3, top 5 just out the doors, it was a whirlwind from that point. Life changed dramatically.
Yeah. And it literally does, like, people are like, was it like an overnight thing? But literally, like, the week after you have a huge hit like that, things just start snowballing.
But
crazily.
them times, I'm still living at Jack Cannon's in Bow. I'm still renting a bedroom off him in his council flat, like walking my staff. And I got people that I've seen for all the time I've been there when I've been walking my dog.
Never paid no attention to you.
Nothing, just apart from hello, good morning, evening, you alright? And then everyone's like, oh my God, you're Professor Green. I'm like, no, I'm the same person that you've been saying hello to every morning when I've been walking my dog.
Suddenly become this like fame, but literally like, especially back in the day, like on ends and stuff, the minute you were on a TV screen,
you're famous.
You were rich.
But it was so different.
You were famous.
Yeah.
Like to other people, the perception was, okay, you're rich, you're famous, like you've instantly gone and bought a mansion somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
what are you still doing in the flats?
Yeah. How come you're still around here? It was like it was yesterday, like my video just dropped.
Yeah, and I'm, giving 82% of every record to my record label.
Exactly. Don't know about all that stuff.
Yeah.
But really, literally, like, you couldn't have dreamed for a better start, man.
No, man. Crazy. And that was where everything where everything changed.
And literally the hits just kept coming as well, because Just Be Good to Green, another huge hit.
That hit. Then we had Monster, that was still top 30, I think, top 20, top 30.
to be reminded, this is in a time as well, like we're going back to 2009-10 when
there was no rap.
There was no rap
you had
in
to
the
fight
chart.
for everything. Like, don't ever think it's like it is now. People didn't have music in their hands.
not
It
at all.
weren't like, people weren't getting, like, if you got 1 million views before your single dropped, like on YouTube, that was a huge achievement. People weren't getting views like they are now. It was a completely different ball game. And you know, I thought, and I did well. It's like, you know, you can hear the instrumental to Jungle in the background.
Yeah.
The label didn't want to let me release that.
Wow.
I fought, and they went, you know, whatever, go on, do what you want with it. It's never going to get on radio.
You've made us a few quid, go on then.
Yeah, go on, just do what you want with it. It's never going to get on radio. And then lo and behold, Radio 1 A-list over Christmas.
Over for people who are maybe not too down with like these terminologies and what that actually means, like Radio 1 A-list means you're in highest rotation.
Yeah.
And not only that, the Christmas period is a myth. Like
it's what's happened. It's not what's happening.
Yeah.
It's what's happened.
It's literally all the Christmas songs are out. All the recurring old classics are on the playlist.
Coming back.
Then
People ain't even in the studio. Everyone's done their pre-records because they're on their family holidays.
Then you might have like the biggest pop group in the world might drop a Christmas single. You're up against that, and it's real. It's hard enough at the better times.
And this is when, you know, like hard. It didn't get played.
Yeah.
It weren't like it is now. It really, really weren't. And I guess this is when, you know, what I was doing, what Tiny was doing, what even, you know, people before that, what Tinchy had done, what Dizzy, all of that starts coming into play here now, because this is when we started to make change.
Yeah, making the real change. I think we need to play the record, man. It's a groundbreaking one. I think it's one that the culture's got to salute as well, man, because like you said, this was breaking down doors and boundaries when it wasn't happening, man. Professor Green's in for tonight's In-Depth Jungle. Pro Green, Maverick Saber, Jungle. This record, it's another one that just still sounds sick, still sounds as big as ever, man. It's another one of those in-depths that could easily have been like a good, 2-3 hours.
We're motoring through it, and we're still only in the first album.
Do you know what I mean? We're like literally motoring through it.
Do you know what though? As quick as we're motoring through it, that was how quick the second album come round, didn't it?
It's crazy.
Because they were a year apart. I look back and I'm like, how did I get it done? Where did it come from?
Literally, I checked. I was checking up the dates and making sure everything was in order earlier. I was like, wow, like 2010, the first album dropped, went gold. 2011, you was straight back at it, and this is with like a full, you know. And
I had a full year touring and promo and everything in between. But
How
I remember
you managing it?
I don't know, not very well. It was a big like, it was a shock to the system, and it's like I should have been happy.
Yeah.
But then I started to realise, so I've got that problem. You know, and the black cloud of depression starts to loom. But it wasn't a sad time, it just was a time that I look back on and wish that I'd have been able to really, really step back for a second, look at what was going on and enjoy it more.
I think a lot of, you know, artists, especially more recently, like you've been doing your documentary thing and you've been, you know, tackling subjects that are actually close to your heart as well.
They matter to us, you know what I mean? It should matter to everyone,
100%.
but people, not everyone's aware, innit?
But being able to bring those issues to a forefront, to the platform that you're doing it on is amazing, man.
Respect, man.
And a lot of artists, like you said, you'd think that you'd be on top of the world, happy as Larry, everything seems to be going right to the outsider, but sometimes just things aren't all adding up.
It's inside. Like you can't, it's, you know, happiness starts, that's why, you know, it starts with you, not no one else, and not with things, not with people, not with anything. It just starts with you. So that fed into the second album though, I guess. I was putting everything that I was feeling into that record, and it came out quick. Like I was just turning around songs for fun. Apart from Read All About It, Glyn, I'm sorry mate. Big up Glyn Akins. I was meant
big up Glyn as well.
Got to, mate. Got to. I was meant to go to. I was sent to the studio. I was in the studio with TMS. Big up TMS. Big up. And then I was meant to record Read All About It, and I went there and they played a song called Trouble, which had a jungle loop in it. And I was like, no, I want to do that. And they were like, really? Because Glyn really wants you to get Read All About It done. And I was like, no, let's go do it. Let me do this. And done a whole song without doing that. Went back to the studio, nothing come out for Read All About It. Went back, I think, the third time, and then bang. Boom. And it just turned round, because it felt like a little bit of an upbeat R&B record when I got, because I didn't write the words for the chorus. That was Ian James. Big up Ian James, who changed my life. I hope I helped change yours. And I was like, we need to just change the mood of it. So we changed this and that, and you know, I asked Emily when the record was at a point that I was, you know, comfortable with her hearing it, if she'd be up for doing it, because Emily was coming up then. You know, we both signed to the same label, and we'd done Kids That Love to Dance, the first record on our first album. And I thought it was going to get knocked back because she didn't write it. You know, she's an incredible songwriter. Why would she sing something that she didn't? But she loved the song, and what that song done for Emily and for me, You know, to watch her sing "Read All About It" Part 3 at the Olympics to billions of people was
like crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy, man. Like I feel like we need to play the record right now, man. Pro Green is in the building, man. Emily Sandé, Professor Green, Read All About It.
Read all about it. Oh.
Such a big record. Emily Sandé alongside my special guest tonight for our in-depth Professor Green, Read All About It. That is such a big tune,
Mr.
bro.
Jam premiered it here all those years ago in 2011.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Like that record, even though you'd always been an artist and a rapper who, you know, spoke from your feelings, you always got stuff out of there. That was a record that was, you know, above and beyond all of that.
But
man.
imagine, so I'm writing this record and it's about, you know, partly my dad's suicide and then what came from it and problems that I had with his widow and her selling a story to a newspaper. And I wasn't in the studio thinking I'm writing. You know, people always say, "Oh, do you go in to write a single? How do you do?" You never. For me, I've never done that. I've never reached.
Yeah.
You know, I've had
It's
successful.
got to just come naturally.
Yeah, I've had successful commercial records, but I've never reached. You know, the one after that, Lullaby. That was I was in one of the darkest places I've been personally. At one of the highest points of my career, so I worked that out.
Yeah.
But that was where Lullaby come from. And that was about my depression. And again, that was a hit for me, but it resonated. It was something that people heard and it felt for them, I guess, like I was telling their story.
I guess, like you said, people really resonate with some of these records, and especially on issues that you don't often hear, especially rappers and people from our backgrounds being open about and speaking about. Like you said earlier, growing up, it was all about, you know, hiding your feelings and not open up, not showing emotion, and being able to do that on a record, on several records.
Yeah.
People are just relating to that, man.
Yeah, no, it's you know, it's been a crazy journey, man. But then, like saying that, going back to early influences and Biggie, I'm a thug, but I swear for 3 days I cried.
Yeah.
You know, that was him being,
it was
him bearing himself, and that's always what I've identified with. So I guess that really has influenced me and how I approach making records.
And you've also taken, you know, tackling some of these, you know, real tricky issues for lots of people, man. People don't know how to address their feelings, emotions, situations, and you've taken it to another level outside of the music with the documentaries you've been doing, which I've watched them all. They've all been amazing, man.
Thank you.
From Suicide and Me to Hidden and Homeless, which was another real eye-opener, Dangerous Dogs, Living in Poverty, of course, legalizing cannabis. It's interesting.
That was a hard
well.
documentary to film, man. I think even I thought that was going to be an easy one to film, but actually having to stand in every situation and lose everything that I knew or thought, so I could give the viewer a real balanced view of things, you know, really informed view of things on both sides was difficult. That was me learning a craft. I guess I am a documentarian now, but it's nothing I ever meant to be.
You're seasoned now, bro.
Yeah.
You're seasoned at it now,
It's nothing I ever meant to be, but I've been filming something that's not been announced yet since January. That's nearly done. As that's done, it's time for more music.
Yeah, literally, like you haven't had a chance to stop. Like,
no, it's always been. I feel like I've been lazy where there's been periods where I haven't put music out because actually what I am still to me is a musician. But then you have to live a little, like, and I didn't know I was going to end up doing 5 films. I did Suicide and Me off the back of a Radio 1 documentary on suicide. That was how that came about. I was asked if I wanted to do something visual, and I said yes, thinking, you know, I've seen the response to the radio documentary. I can actually make a difference here and help people. But yeah, then I walked into that, and it was that again. You know, that was incredibly hard, and you know, I cried in it. I can imagine. And then I want to save face. I don't want people to see me cry, but you know, there we go. I took the step. Yeah,
no, bruv, and massive salute to you for doing that, man, and you know, helping God knows how many thousands of people.
Some of the messages I've had, bro, like, are just crazy.
It must be incredible to see.
Proper, like, and just to know that actually putting myself out there and being selfless in that situation has actually helped other people, and it's nice to be able to take. You know, we all, once we get to a certain point, have a stage, and I kind of started to realise it's important what you use your voice for. It can't just be for, you know,
parties
for senseless lyrics.
Yeah, of course. There's obviously a
I still want to make. Don't get me wrong. There's still going to be some senseless lyrics.
Don't write yourself away from that. Like,
don't trust me. If you knew what I wrote yesterday, there is still going to be some senseless lyrics. But
the balance is key, though, isn't it?
It is.
And you know, it's 2017. New music is on the horizon. It is. Like you said, it's been crazily, like, even though you've been on records, you've dropped a few things, you've done some stuff with Dream McLean and whatnot. 3 years.
Yeah.
Since your last London show.
I know, because what did we do? I dropped Back on the Market and One Eye on the Door just to kind of get rid of all the, speculation over that. And then now it just feels like for me it feels like a clean slate.
Yeah. New music on the way. What can we expect?
Trouble.
Like, that's what I mean. There's that cheeky Pro Green from Jump Off.
It's still there. It's still there, man.
It's still in there.
There's gonna be a lot more with me and Dream McLean as well. We're working quite closely now and stuff. Obviously we did Active. That was, I forgot we did that.
Yeah.
We did Active.
I was rinsing that record as well, man.
No, big up, man. So there's gonna be a lot more of that, and I need to get that side of my personality out again, because for me it's like that's me doing me. I need to live life in my own shoes for a little bit. Like doing these films, you empathize with people, but in doing so you take on their problems, and I've not done pink and fluffy subjects. They've all been quite hard hitting, and they've all been quite hard hitting. So I just need a little while now to live life in my own shoes, put some music out and chat. All the stuff that I'm renowned for.
If I'm going to put you on the spot quickly, 15 years of One Extra. If you could pick one extra moment, doesn't even have to be that you was involved in, just a one extra moment.
Wow.
You could pick out over the 15 years. It's been loads that you have been involved in, obviously.
Oh my good God.
And I probably won't have it to hand to play either, so I'll just throw it out there. Though,
do you know what?
Just
because my memory is mad, and it's like when people say, "What are your 5 favorite albums?" and you can't name 2.
Yeah, I'm terrible like that.
For me, do you know what? Just for me as a personal moment, when Jam first played "Read All About It," and we had an interview that I spoke about things that I'd never spoken about before, and it went into places I wasn't even comfortable with it going. That was that was a moment for me.
Amazing, man. We played.
Got One Extra, man. Happy birthday, and thank you for all the support.
Listen, without artists like yourself, man, you know it works both ways. So, happy birthday.